Welcome back to episode 123 of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's going on, dude?
What's up, dude? This is 123.
123?
Yeah.
Oh. Is there a significance to that other than like a sequential?
No, there's no significance.
1, 2, 3, dude.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about Ethereum merge.
Basically, it's the state of the markets and the state
of markets, yeah.
I guess everything, dude, because this is kind of like what you do in a bear market. So,
yeah, we were born in a bear market, and we returned to the bear market.
That's right. So what were we doing when we first, conceptualized the idea of, a podcast? Well, obviously, we
were sitting at a table eating some tacos.
But why? Because, crypto it came and went.
Yeah.
Right. And then we were like, dude, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What was that stuff all about? So we,
yeah,
we shared similar interests, right?
Yeah.
And not many others around us did. So it was almost like a therapy sesh. It's like we get to vent our feelings about damn, dude. It's crypto is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then through those conversations, damn, maybe other people want to know about what it is we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So here we are, 4 years later?
Is it? No. Wait, 2019?
Almost.
Yeah. So
back in similar conditions, and I think a lot of you guys who were exposed to this previous cycle are probably sitting around having those similar thoughts of dude, what the hell just happened? Where did all my value and money go that I thought I was gonna get rich and shit? I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys, if you did semi well, you already had those dreams of Lambos and
every YouTuber was saying 100K Bitcoin or above.
Yep. And you bought into it,
and it didn't get there.
It didn't happen. And they're all telling you to hodl now, right?
Yeah.
Just so they don't get sued. Things like this, right? And this is very typical. It's cyclical. It already happened many times, and it's going to continue to happen into the future. So
yeah,
let's talk about it.
And what's interesting about these cyclical cycles is that they happen within a time span that is very hard to package in a way where you can comprehend that we're in a bear cycle right now, or we're in a bull cycle. It's we're so deep into it that it's hard to know where we are when we're there.
You're talking about us specifically, you and I?
No, just emotionally, when it's when we had $69,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, but we knew
it wasn't obvious to sell at that point.
No, definitely not to sell. But it was obvious we're in a very hot market, right? Because
was it that hot though?
Dude, it was extremely hot. Every meme coin imaginable took off. Every meme NFT project
then
exploded.
But if it was so hot, then it would have been clear to sell, right?
Yeah, but the that's the hard part is because it's not like how it used to be in 2017 2018 cycle. There was much less mainstream participation, I think. So the indication of a top was whenever you start to hear everybody mumble crypto things.
Paris Hilton coming in, Akon,
everybody, your taxi driver, everybody was have you heard of this crypto thing? It's
but now crypto is more mainstream. You would think that there would be more higher value, there
was higher
crazy,
value,
more crazy.
The price went pretty high, dude.
I mean,
went to 60K or so roughly, Bitcoin.
3 times the previous all-time high. I mean,
yeah, within 4 years, that's pretty juicy,
Is it?
I think so, but obviously not what we expected, Again, there was these models concocted, and we're gonna revisit them here in a little bit because that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking Bitcoin and trying to analyze state of the market, what phase of the cycles are we in? There's people out there actually churning out real research and analytics and stuff, and they're creating these models for a variety of reasons. They service traders very well.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can be a little too
inaccurate.
Well, that's not even inaccurate. It's just if you believe in them wholeheartedly as this is a definitive trajectory to an asset's future. It can
cloud.
It can do damage to you in the long run, like it did to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And all I'm talking about here in this, I don't know if they can see it right now.
Yeah, let me zoom in here.
Yeah, this particular model you know, if you were just now getting exposed to it, you know, the first thing I would notice is the top and bottom bands that this Bitcoin price trajectory is within.
Yeah.
Right. So me, I would like to use that as guidance for when I want to enter and exit this market. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people bought into that idea and concept and were expecting Bitcoin to visit that top band.
Right.
As like an exit point. Right. So that's where everybody kind of got caught, you know, holding the bag essentially. But the reason why to bring it up now is because now Bitcoin is visiting the bottom
side of the band. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we do about that? What's our, after being burned on the upside by these models, what do we do with these models now?
Don't get burned on the bottom side.
So what does that mean? Like
you purchase.
So the models are not invalid at all.
Well, I mean, they haven't broken any bands, any limits.
Yeah.
So they're not broken.
Yeah.
It just didn't reach, you know, what we hoped it would get to.
Yeah, because there's a few things that have been, like, I guess, established over Bitcoin's how many year life cycle? Roughly 14 years of life.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, there's
14 years? Yeah, I guess 13,
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few things have been established, right? One, for sure, it has like a cyclical nature to it, and a lot of it is driven by the halvening, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things we were talking about during the last bear cycle. We were speculating what's going to bring the markets back.
Yeah.
Because it was like really hard to think, like, how are we going to recover from, you know, the ICO mania and all that stuff.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the charts here, I mean, back in 2017, at the end of 2017, it peaked at $20,000.
Yeah. And
then we had several years of dumpening. This is where we started the podcast, went to, 14,000 here.
Yeah, we started the podcast when in 2019, you said?
Right here.
Yeah.
$3,000 Bitcoin.
So, I mean, we were like in the thick
You and I were debating on whether or not I could go lower. I was like, dude, this is it. This is as low as it's going to go.
Yeah.
And then we had COVID. And as you can see here in the COVID peak, which is right here, it nearly gets close to the bottom band, the CVDD band. And then back when we started the podcast, it got really close again, right? 3,000.
Yeah.
And COVID comes. We see Elon coming in.
Yep.
Talk some shit about Bitcoin.
Michael Saylor
talks it up.
Yeah, and then
dumps
something. I'm not sure what caused that dump there. Maybe like
China FUD.
ban.
Yeah, China ban.
Yeah, we're like, typical stuff. And then here we go. NFTs are popping off. Everybody wants their Bored Apes. And this is like when retail really started jumping in.
Yeah.
So yeah, with all that like hotness, it's like, you know, so much retail presence around this time. I think everybody was anticipating. Yeah.
And most importantly, look at this top band number, right? Here's another prediction. 200,000, right? I was like, man, we still got a ways to go, right? This is going to be the lengthening cycle.
Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes quite the opposite, right? It starts dumping.
Yeah.
It's an all-time local low of 17,000 around here in change. And now we're just hovering between 17,000 and 20,000 and change.
So it feels eerily reminiscent, right?
Yeah, and just notice where we are in this band. We're really close to that purple band again, right? The bottom is around 15,000. So approaching the lower bands is a good opportunity to start looking into Bitcoin again.
Is it? So there's nothing about like what's going on now to where you should like hesitate at all?
Well, that's the point of this discussion.
Yeah, it is. And it's also like, I think a big driver of like why we're even at this stage of a bottom point of potential buy opportunities. So there's been a lot of external.
See, now that's the thing to talk about is Bitcoin has never been in a recession before. It has experienced nothing but positive, like macroeconomic, like emotions, I guess, like positive emotions. And so now we're starting to evaluate the monetary system as whether or not it's going to be viable in the future.
Yeah.
And so that has a ton of implications as to the value of Bitcoin. And so we were talking about, you know, what is the value of Bitcoin versus what is the value of gold and what is the value of fiat currency. And it's ultimately a combination of belief, network effect, government
support, aka
military.
military.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
A lot of things give things value.
Yeah.
So you talk to anybody that knows about our monetary system, it's basically a self-defeating system. And then you look at, well, what are the possible alternatives, right? It's going to be either cryptocurrency, or we go back to like, trading shekels and trading all kinds of like physical objects as a medium exchange, which is just going backwards, right? So the natural step would be what everyone's anticipating to be Bitcoin being the world's reserve currency. And so that's really what we're, I guess, debating here, is whether or not.
Well, it's also to like narrow in and hone in on like the short-term importance of that conversation.
Yeah.
That's like the big umbrella like topic of the bear case scenario for, I guess, not even just Bitcoin, everything.
Yeah.
Everything in society that we've all grown to love and adore and adopt as like our daily existence in this planet. Like, that's a big topic to discuss.
Yeah.
But in this one in particular, just because Bitcoin is in these almost like
all-time lows,
almost like sell your house zone.
Yeah.
That's how I identify it, because we've talked about this before in the past, like, years, because these models will always exist. And like they're bans for a reason, just because they have historical data supporting these support and resistance lines, basically. So they're almost, I like to think of it as like, it's financially irresponsible not to even consider like adding these assets to your portfolio within these zones. You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
But considering the big umbrella conversation you were just kind of like alluding to, like, do you still behave the same way, or like, take those same financial risks?
Yes, exactly.
At a time like this, and will other people factor that in?
So let's talk about the magnitude of the activity that's going on in the macroeconomic sense.
Yeah.
Right. We have Russia and Ukraine.
And China and Taiwan are flirting
China
hard.
and Taiwan.
There's been drones, I think, shot down. There's posturing. There's been posturing for more than a month now for a while. And then United States positioning themselves in the region. Like, this is not good.
Yeah, and on top of that, from like the crypto perspective, we had OFAC, which is an institution within the United States, regulatory institution, sanctioning a completely
decentralized protocol
known as Tornado Cash.
Yeah.
And it took down Tornado Cash pretty much,
like
from a value
literally
standpoint.
Overnight. Like, we tried to chime in to see what's going on over there, and gone.
Yeah, website is inaccessible, but I'm sure if we get a VPN, we can access Tornado Cash, but that's illegal apparently.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, going to Tornado Cash.
We can't do that, dude.
Is an illegal activity.
I thought about it, like even like you typing in that URL. I was like, dude, that's risky.
Yeah, I mean, what?
Come at me, bro.
But that's why they took it down, right? So like,
I know. They can give us at least like a few day grace period.
Yeah,
we're just investigating.
Yeah,
we're not trying to launder anything. You know what I mean?
Well,
you're right. That's another huge consideration. That's we're at this bottom zone, which we're calling like the opportunity of like, for sure the next 2 to 4 years.
We're calling it an opportunity, but there's a caveat.
A bunch of them.
Yeah. There's a caveat in the sense that potentially it could go lower because of the macroeconomic activity.
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Yeah, because that's what we've always wondered. Like you said, Bitcoin is only like the market of activity is only existed with positive macro sentiment. Let me semi-positive. There are people who knew like these now much more like evident like financial dilemmas. Like, people were aware like this is at some point going to become a problem, but there was enough like injection of liquidity from Federal Reserve tactics.
Which problem are you talking about? Russia?
No. Like the obvious at some point where we could teeter on the edge of hyperinflation because of the mismanagement of Treasury.
Well, you say mismanagement as if somebody just made the wrong decision. This is a natural progression of the fiat monetary system.
Well, no, they made the right decisions in order to keep this show running.
So then what do you mean by mismanagement then?
Well, by, I guess, extending, like...
kicking the can down the road?
Yeah, extending it to a point where I think everybody knew at some point it's just going to become too big of a problem. or you're creating a bigger and bigger house of cards essentially. So once you remove the thing that's supporting it, it's going to make a bigger crash. In other words,
I agree with everything you're saying. I just feel like by design of the fiat monetary system, it is going to kill itself no matter what decision humanity takes with it.
Okay, elaborate on that.
And the reason is because the way that fractional reserve banking system works, it is the loan comes from the Federal Reserve. Banks deposit that loan, and that loan, once it's deposited, a fraction of that can be loaned out again.
Mm-hmm.
But that fraction you would think would come from the pool of money that was infused by the government, by the Federal Reserve, but it's actually manifested out of thin air. So that 90% fraction that is loaned out to businesses and people and things like that, it is brand new money that is made out of thin air, right? So if you continue on this process, you are just inflating the fiat currency and therefore devaluing it. That's why if you look at the chart of the value of the dollar, it just goes down. It doesn't go up. There's no mechanism to burn fiat currency. And so what happens when you have a runaway inflation? You have Venezuela, right? And so we've been heading towards Venezuela. It's just very slowly.
Agreed. So that understanding that you have, or this impending doomsday type scenario you're painting out, is what I'm saying is people have always known this is either an inevitability or possibility at some point down the road.
Sure.
Right. So that's all what I mean by, but it's not as evident as it is today. Like now, I think this messaging, this understanding is becoming much more ubiquitous because, now there's evidence to support it.
Well, if anyone's in crypto, I mean, I feel like
that's true.
This is part of like the education process that you go through of understanding of why crypto is so important.
Yeah, but that's assuming the majority of participants in crypto came in for the reason of looking for more sound financial, sustainable financial future.
Yeah,
that's not the case. The majority of people onboarding into this ecosystem normally are looking for opportunity.
Yeah, making money
for gain.
Yeah.
Personal gain,
but that's why we're here. That's why we're here is to talk about why crypto is important, because whether the markets go up or down, that this is a better solution to our current monetary problems.
Yeah.
Right. At least, I mean, I wouldn't say that Bitcoin is just like it's going to solve everything, but at least it is a place where that there is no inflation. Right. There is no such thing to inflate Bitcoin.
I see.
Right. And so if you're going to store money anywhere, to me, once you understand the value of the point of Bitcoin, to me, there is no other place besides Bitcoin.
I see. So you're just honing in on the fundamental value aspects of Bitcoin itself as just a standalone asset in comparison to all the other financial instruments that exist.
That give you the option to choose where to put.
Because everybody accrues value their life through whatever means necessary,
working,
activities,
investing,
hustling, whatever the fuck. You're a painter, you sell it, you make some value. Now, it's everybody's responsibility at that point of value accrual. It's like, what do I do? How do I distribute this value? Do I just hold it into this money system that is kind of imposed on me at birth? Which is fiat. That's what the majority of people do because, it's not taught in schools how to actually manage your value. What's optimal? How do I grow this? I didn't even know. Most people don't even know these things you earn can be invested into new vehicles that can generate you more yield. Things like this. This is not common knowledge, right?
It's not
at all.
And how the monetary system
is even less common knowledge.
It's even less.
So that's what I'm saying. So you're right. If you're one of these types, basically you. Somebody like you who actually understands all of these things, very small hopefully you guys listening and watching are one of these people, because then all these charts that we pull up, it doesn't matter. Literally.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's sort of the point of looking at the charts is not it's not
like all of a sudden Bitcoin becomes more innately valuable because it's in this buy zone.
Right.
Bitcoin doesn't change, the fundamentals of Bitcoin hasn't changed one bit since the start. till now,
Exactly.
right? The only thing that's changing is people's like, behavior of like, or sentiment,
Yeah.
and that's all these squiggly lines represent.
And that's why I don't really panic whenever we see, low prices for Bitcoin or anything like that, because to me, like, this is just the current sentiment. But if you extrapolate it long enough, like, Bitcoin just seems like it's going to be the most valuable asset on the planet.
Okay, so then now let's talk about why Bitcoin versus gold, because gold is an asset that's like obviously revered and traditionally. I mean, just open a few history books and you'll see how crazy people have went over that, how crazy people were for gold, right?
Yeah.
Like, so nowadays it doesn't seem as alluring to most.
To the new generations.
To the newer generations, yeah. To the graybeards, they're still, cooming over the stuff, like on the daily, they're still walking around with their gold bracelets and their gold chains and gold it up, dude, but us younger folk, I don't know, blingless, dude.
Blingless.
Yeah.
So
explain.
let's try to position, I guess, the status of Bitcoin versus gold, right? So gold, its valuation is right now roughly $11.3 trillion.
Yeah, which is pretty big.
Yeah. So that's $11,300 billion, right? So if you look at Bitcoin, the market cap is only 365 billion. So we're talking, what is that? How many X's is that?
Isn't that like a 50x roughly? Yeah, like a 40x or so.
Yeah. So
pretty big.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the multiplier isn't really like the thing to consider. It's just the actual amount of, capital and liquidity required to get it to that like point where, there's a like a neck and neck race between these two assets, and also consider like just the lifespan of them.
Yeah,
gold, like I said, it's historically has gone through so much.
Well, it was around since the big boom, right?
Exactly.
Or the big bang, I should say.
The big boom?
Bang.
The big bang. Okay. Yeah, I guess. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. We're not bringing on Neil deGrasse Tyson for this segment. It's like, how did gold get here?
Yeah.
But I get it. Yeah, it's a very there's fundamental reasons to why it's valuable too.
Yeah.
When you bring up the whole, the universe created it at some point. We don't necessarily have a consensus on belief of like that inception point, right? I mean, maybe scientists do.
Well, I mean, it's part of all the elements that spawned during that event, right? So
okay, but there's an understanding of why the elements of gold is I guess through the process of like the Earth's core solidifying and all this stuff. There's a lot of other minerals and elements within this crust.
Gold is just
planet.
a byproduct of the Big Bang, and it so happens to be difficult to discover.
Yeah.
Right. There are no tools that you can go and detect gold. Right.
Yeah.
You have to go and literally dig for it.
Okay.
And then that difficulty of getting gold
presents value.
Presents value because you can measure the difficulty versus how much gold you find, and measure its relative scarcity, and therefore,
there's not much of it because we dig a lot.
Yeah.
And we have a large enough sample pool through our digging endeavors to be like, hey man, this gold stuff is like kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
So already like this is like innately understood into our human brains, like that makes it semi-valuable or some kind of value to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Well, think about it from ignore all this technology.
Yeah.
Think about it from like a primitive human standpoint, dude.
Sure.
There's like nothing cool, like literally.
Yeah, it's just the things that are cool are the things that you find.
Like gold is probably like the coolest thing you can actually like hold in your hands back in those days because it's like shiny. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. it's just shiny. It looks kind of, I mean, you could mold it and like it looks cool, like around your wrist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then there's that, factor that in so that the understanding of gold is cool.
And then there's some use cases
That's
for
how the network effect was built, right? Potentially.
I mean, that has to be the only like explanation of why gold is gold today.
Well, not just cool, but the other things you pointed out, like scarce and difficult to obtain.
Yeah.
And these are the same tenets of Satoshi's,
Exactly.
Bitcoin,
Yeah.
tokenomics, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a finite supply. It's scarce, and it gets more and more difficult to obtain, I guess, as more and more people go after it.
That's right.
And then it's also becoming more limited over time to
discover.
Yeah. So it's just,
I mean, you couldn't design a better system to compete with gold.
yeah.
You couldn't do it. This
But
would be it.
Yeah, you had to take all those, obvious value points of gold
Yeah.
and just transition it to this new model. So I mean, obviously it was a brilliant idea,
Yeah.
and it took off.
Well,
Clearly.
I mean, the idea itself, we're underplaying how big of an idea that Satoshi released here,
Yeah.
because it solved a big computer science problem,
Okay.
right? In the fact that you could no longer duplicate digital assets anymore
Yeah.
because of blockchain, right? And that's a big discovery, right, from a digital perspective. And so that's how we could have money, digital money, is because you can't duplicate it, right?
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, such a big discovery that, I mean, if he were around today, he would have several Nobel Prizes as a result. So anyway, now we're comparing the effect of Bitcoin and its potential versus gold and its history, and we're starting to see that it feels like it's inevitable that Bitcoin becomes more valuable than gold, and probably the most valuable asset beyond land on Earth. And so that has huge implications, right? And
Yeah.
so when you're thinking about where to move your money, like, it just seems obvious. I don't know why it's difficult for people to understand.
Dude, you gotta stop assuming
Isn't
things
it
seem
obvious?
obvious, dude. It's definitely not obvious.
It might not be obvious, but if you do the due diligence,
Okay.
it becomes obvious.
I still don't even know if obvious is the word, but I guess it's just like
Inevitable. I mean, how's it? I just don't understand how it's not obvious.
I don't know.
I feel like if we could live 1,000 years from now, you and I talking 1,000 years from now, we'd be like, yeah, Bitcoin, the most valuable asset. It was obvious, right? I feel like that's the conversation we would have.
Probably, but yeah, we got to get to that point in order to.
Yeah, for
Hindsight, of course, is what I'm saying, but it's just not obvious.
sure. It's like I mean, we have parallels. The internet, right? In the 70s, the internet was invented. It was very crude, very not useful. But you can see people worked on the internet in the 70s.
I think I know what you're saying now. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not. You have to have deep understandings.
Oh, 100%. That's
to
why we
get
do
to that
this.
obvious conclusion or assumption. Make these assumptions.
And that's why we do this.
Yeah, that is why we do this. And there's other obvious things I think that we have identified that are looming.
Yeah.
Things like the metaverse, especially.
Yes.
Right? Like that to you, you're like, isn't it obvious? It's like at some point, everybody's gonna, be a part of this metaverse stuff. But
yeah.
Right now we're in the deepest trenches of a bear market, and nobody around can really pinpoint the obviousness of the metaverse. Like what's gonna make it.
It is difficult for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not obvious, innately not obvious, but when you actually consider everything that the scope of our today existence,
Yeah.
the activities that humans seem to be attracted to,
Yeah.
which is very much influenced by our digital identities and stuff like that. So if you factor in all that and you would extrapolate into a much more immersive experience and stuff like it seems obvious that people are going to gravitate and want to be a part of that.
Sure.
And if you factor in even more economic opportunities and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's not so difficult to really comprehend because we spend so much time in the digital space as it is. It's just everything in 2D.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is it much of a stretch to believe that we're going to be spending the same amount of time, if not more, when everything's in 3D?
That's exactly right. It's not obvious at first, I guess, because I think people just are not used to
They don't even recognize that they're in the digital space when they're interacting with their Instagrams and Facebooks and Twitter.
Yeah, because we've become so comfortable and we've adapted to these interfaces so well. Because I mean, they're easy to use, and they're portable. You can stick them in your pocket. All these things, like, so they're ultra useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they improve your lives on so many different, aspects. Like it's one of those things you can't live without at this point. Because if you do, you're a weaker human, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, imagine wandering the earth without like Google at your hands.
Yeah. I mean,
like, if you ever have like a problem, you have to like use your own brain.
Yeah.
What a disadvantage.
I mean, we've been there. I remember when I was in college. I mean, there weren't a lot of GPS-enabled devices that you could go and like find a party at. Yeah. Right. You'd have to like print out MapQuest.
Yeah.
And like drive there, like look at signs to get to your destination.
Yep.
And it wasn't. I mean, at the time, you didn't know that there could be a better way.
Yeah, and it wasn't obvious at that time. It's like satellites were going to enable a future where we're not going to depend on paper diagrams to like navigate us. It wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
But now looking back, oh, dude, it's obvious as fuck. Like, come on, how could we not?
How do you navigate without GPS?
Yeah.
Right. Most people couldn't do it.
Yeah. So things are not basically. It's. But it takes that.
But hold on. So let's go back to the MapQuest GPS idea there.
Okay.
If you were an engineer, a global positioning engineer.
Yes.
You would say this is obvious that everybody's going to need this.
Yes.
Because everybody needs to travel and figure out how to get to wherever they're going. Mm-hmm. It's obvious.
Well, your job as an engineer is to figure out like efficiencies, right?
And that's the point. Now going back to the internet idea, like the people working on the internet in the 70s, they thought it was obvious that people are going to communicate with each other.
Yeah, it's just better. It's more efficient and it's instant. There's no like traveling required.
But you know what's crazy is that in the 70s, personal computers were like an idea. Mm-hmm. And so
personal computers?
Yeah, personal computers.
Oh,
they had like rudimentary laptops like that as big as like a
fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like so it was probably difficult to comprehend that everybody would have a computer in their house.
It wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
But it was obvious to Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, it was obvious to him.
Apple.
Yeah.
They were the ones in those, in the little garage.
And Bill Gates,
the only ones who, just the small pockets, I guess, of like early Silicon Valley. Is like, dude, this is gonna happen.
But we're identifying a trend here. The people who understand the technology, understand that this becomes obvious.
Or I guess like the inefficiencies too of like modern living at a specific point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right now we're talking about Bitcoin versus existing financial systems. Like there's tons of inefficiencies within this financial system, but it's not obvious that there's an alternative solution and like something that's better than money today.
It's obvious to us.
I know. Right. What I'm saying is go back to it's not obvious that everybody's going to have personal computers at some point in the future. That's what I mean. Like,
for the most people, I totally
from like
agree.
A public sentiment perspective, it's not obvious.
Yeah,
but doesn't make it.
It doesn't need to be obvious. That's why those of you who are listening to us, we've
said obvious
this,
like 100 times in the last like 20 minutes. But
but those of you who are watching and listening, they get to understand that it is obvious, right? Because
that's true.
Because it presents an opportunity. Most people are not paying attention.
That's a good point.
Especially during the bear markets. Everyone has turned off all the YouTubers, shilling these different projects.
Yeah.
And most people are just not listening.
Yeah.
But those who still are, their understanding is like, this is pretty much inevitable.
Yeah.
Right? And so then you put your chips where it makes sense.
Totally.
So I mean, I really like talking about the whole internet.
I know.
Personal computers, like, because
now here we are,
history repeats itself.
I know, but here we are, and that's why I brought up the metaverse, because like to us, it can't seem any more obvious. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, and then I don't know. Like last time, whenever we first got involved in the metaverse space, we were definitely questioning our sanity quite frequently.
For sure.
Because we felt like something was obvious, but nobody else did.
Yeah.
Right. And there was no like
confirmation,
validation, and reinforcement from any source other than like the small pockets of people that we met who also felt it was obvious.
Yeah.
But then something happened in between then and now, where now more people have like embraced the concepts and ideas that we've kind of stumbled on, and,
Yeah.
and for like a short frame of time, he's like, hey, this is obvious too.
Yeah.
You know? Then these multi-trillion dollars projections start coming out of nowhere. It's like, now fast forward till now, it's like it seems like a lot of that sentiment has left the room.
Yeah.
And we're back here, like, you know, people are asking, is it inevitable or not?
Yeah.
You know, the metaverse is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
As people, I'm sure in the early days of personal computing, the internet, all these technical leaps
Yeah.
that humanity makes, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So you're right. That's part of our responsibility as like on this channel, as thought leaders of the space, especially the metaverse and like Web3, all this stuff.
Yeah.
We have to try and make this obvious to the masses.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
step one to do that. How do
Yeah.
we do that, dude? How do we make this obvious?
How do we do that?
Well, first things first. Start playing some video games. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I feel like it's intuitive
Mm-hmm.
to think that the metaverse is obvious if you are a video game.
Yeah, I think it
Consumer.
accelerates that bridge of understanding.
Yeah.
It's almost like
100%.
the bridge for people to find the obviousness, like value in cryptocurrency. That bridge is like understanding the like monetary systems and finance.
100%, yeah.
That's a huge bridge to cross.
Oh yeah, that's difficult.
So the bridge for the metaverse reality is like even like most people haven't even been exposed to like 3D virtual environments in their life. Like you have to be a gamer to even like encounter stuff like this. You know,
You would have to be a gamer, yeah.
because like you're saying, the masses are consuming 2D interface, like 2D environments.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just not obvious. Like, what do you mean the internet's going to be immersive? Like,
Yeah.
I don't need
like
that.
that.
I'm already living. I'm
Yeah.
immersed.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need to go anywhere else. It's no virtual environments to like, you know, experience what socializing is like, or, you know, maybe establish
Man.
relationships.
Now that I think
Find
about
a
it, that's a
job.
big leap.
It is.
Now, but then again, video game industry is one of the bigger industries out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's bigger than movies.
Because it's great, dude.
Bigger than music.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would. There's hundreds of millions of players,
Yeah.
so the industry is big enough, right? So there's a lot of easy to onboard types of people into the metaverse,
Yeah.
rather than the billions who don't partake in
Yeah.
3D gaming.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people gaming, but probably like on their phones. Isn't the mobile market like the
It's
biggest
true.
gaming market? So
It
that's
is.
to me is
See, that's not real games. That's
Well,
more
they
like
are.
time killers of like
I mean,
brain killing activities.
you could play Fortnite.
Yeah, good
stuff
point.
like that.
Yeah, but I don't think the masses who are playing mobile games are playing Fortnite though. They're
Mm.
playing like their like little candy BS games like that.
I don't know. We'd have to like go down the list and like see the actual.
See the most popular mobile games.
But I'm pretty sure Fortnite and like Minecraft is like, and Roblox are just killing everything right now on all platforms. But anyways, nonetheless, it's still like you have this phone in your hand, and
yeah,
I don't think you actually have made that leap or crossed that bridge, even if you're like, that's your portal of consumption.
huh, yeah,
I think more like maybe like the PC gaming race or the console gamer
yeah,
has a much better shot at like understanding. Oh yeah, of course, you know, the future is going to be virtual. Duh. You know what I mean?
But why the distinction of PC gamer versus like the mobile player?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like the controlling aspect. You just feel much more like connected to your actual in-game presence. You know, you're holding a remote,
Okay,
and
okay.
it's more dexterity involved.
So you
and,
feel like there's more immersion in like
console or PC? Yeah,
console
PC
or
even more
PC?
so. Like you're fucking going crazy all the time when you're on a PC. You know what I
That's
mean?
interesting.
Like you're everything, like your finger dexterity, your wrists, your elbows, you know, your vision, everything is such a major factor. Like you're basically in a virtual, like all of your senses are pretty much like focused on that virtual space.
So what happens in like a mobile gaming?
I
Like
mean,
you're just like moving your thumbs and that's it. Like
I feel like that's. I mean, you're still plugged in, but I feel it's much more disconnected than, you know.
Interesting.
That's just my perspective.
But it's interesting.
nonetheless-
It's interesting because in social media, people are like endlessly scrolling.
Yeah, that's true. But like,
Like it's such a problem that it has psychological effects on humanity.
what
The fact that you're spending so much time on social media.
Yeah, and then also to add on, like the fact that these algorithms are so powerful at
Oh,
this
yeah.
stage, and
Yeah.
it influences global thought,
Yeah, it does.
behaviors and
It
stuff like
does.
that. So yeah, I mean it's always a double-edged situation, no matter what.
Yeah. But that's interesting though, that you made that distinction between like immersion versus like such an easily handled device like a cell phone, and
Yeah.
that disconnects you from that immersion.
Yeah, it's not entirely. It's just like it's a threshold thing. You know, it's like a percentages probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like mobile gaming is probably like 10% of like an immersive experience. Consoles probably like 30-40%, PCs like 60-70%, and then VR is like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can't escape
Max,
it at that
yeah.
point. Yeah, that's max level.
Immersion.
That's my opinion of it, but nonetheless, if you're on that spectrum at some point, like you've at least you're on the bridge.
You're on the bridge.
So that's the bridge, but the people on the other side of that bridge are the ones who put on those VR headsets and stuff. Like they're fully immersed. They're in all the way.
Yeah.
You don't need to convince them of nothing.
Yeah,
They see the value in it. Yeah.
We were watching I forgot what the name of the movie was,
Oh,
but
yeah,
a documentary on HBO Max.
Yeah, that was interesting. We met in VR.
In VR, something like that.
Yeah, it was about VR chat.
Yeah.
And
The whole thing was shot in VR chat.
Yeah.
And it was about these people talking about their experiences in VR chat, like emotional experiences, social
and they were
experiences.
hardcore because you could tell because they were like dancing and shit, so they were wearing like
they were full geared.
They were fully decked. So those people are all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they talk about that and like why would you commit yourself this much to like these virtual experiences, like, you know?
Yeah, and they mentioned COVID contributed to that.
Yeah.
And people have a need to have social experiences even under those conditions.
See? Yeah, and then like somebody who hasn't even stepped on the bridge would be like, well, why don't you just, go meet people? As if like that's, for some people on Earth, that's not.
Yeah, there's anxiety issues.
Exactly. There could be disabilities even.
Disabilities, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's an obvious huge utility to like these VR social platforms where now these needs can be met, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was the gist that I got from it. And then also there's people actually making a living, I think, like educators.
Yeah.
There's like sign language.
Yeah.
And it was spot on, dude. I mean, she must have had like all of her fingers tracked.
Yeah, everything.
It's very impressive.
There's people dancing too, and like you can see hips moving, legs, feet, everything.
Yeah. So that was a glimpse of, but even to me, that felt weird a little bit. To me.
Yeah.
Like, and I've spent probably more time of my life, like, immersed in virtual environments than not.
I mean, I guess the main activity in this VR chat is to socialize.
Yeah, but I got that immediately. It's like, dude, it brought back flashbacks.
Right, but you wouldn't be like, itching to jump in to like socialize. You'd be itching to like shoot at people and like compete in a game.
Whatever's fun. Yeah, whatever is fun within that environment. Like, because I remember, I played games like Battlefield and stuff like that back in the day. I don't know if it's like a war game.
Yeah.
And the purpose of the game is to, you load into servers. There's two sides to us, and you load into a map, probably like 10v10. You start at two corners of the map, and then game begins, and then you just kind of like run,
converge
into the battlefield.
Let's see who wins.
See who can kill the most opponents.
Yeah.
But like even within that framework, like the community became so like interconnected. There was like a social environment to it. Like people stopped running into the middle of the battlefield to kill each other. Instead,
oh really?
People talk to each other.
They
like,
met in
we were just hanging out and like shooting the shit. And then like we'd even do things like knife fights, like just for fun, and like everybody be around watching like two dudes fight like with a knife. That's not the game devs didn't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah, that's true.
But that just shows there's like this innate like desire to just like communicate and socialize, even like fighting versus environment. You know what I mean?
That is very interesting.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was like such a fun thing to do, just because it's the opposite of what you should be doing in that game.
Yeah, it was so fun. Like all I wanted to do was come home from school and like meet my bros, my virtual bros, and like load into these maps and like just because there was voice speak, right, and they were like talking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was like That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I've crossed the bridge. Big time.
Yeah.
So you don't have to convince me of nothing. It's obvious to me.
Yeah.
Like, this is where we're headed.
Yeah.
But I know I'm aware I'm not like the majority. I'm a very small pocket of like people who've actually like experienced that.
Yeah. So you're saying that those that are claiming that the metaverse is going to be multi-trillion dollars, it's obvious to them.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
Because either they've experienced it themselves, you know.
Because right now gaming is not a $1 trillion industry.
No, but I mean, there's, you could, do the little, what's it called? Projections and stuff like that.
Extrapolations.
Yeah, and then you can see gaming's only going to get bigger and bigger. It's like swallowing entertainment industries and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you do like the figures of like, internet connectivity is probably going to continue to grow into the future, onboarding more users. Consoles, hopefully they'll become more accessible, cheaper. Mobile gaming obviously is becoming more popular, and everybody has a device. So it's just factor in all those things. Yeah. And then inject potential like Web3, ownership of assets type stuff, and you've got a perfect storm scenario.
Yeah, you got the biggest country ever formed by humanity potential here.
Yeah. Digital society or whatever. Is that what you mean?
Virtual societies.
Yeah, but see, that's even a whole other subject. Like, I don't know if like those people laying out those projections are like thinking of it like that. They might just
They might not.
They might just be simply assuming gaming is just going to become much more enjoyable in the metaverse because it's more immersive and stuff like that. I don't know. We'd have to maybe do some more interviews with Goldman
Sachs
analysts in like Citi. Yeah, it's like a bunch of banks that are like making these big predictions.
I wonder why, man. I'm trying to figure out why such large predictions though, because they are including like hardware and things like that, but 13 trillion just seems high, especially in this decade. By 2030, 13 trillion.
It's a lot, and it's that number is huge, and it's at the scale of like.
Small nations.
You know how I like say, in order for because you're confident in that Bitcoin's going to be $1 million per. Yeah. Within the next 10 years, right? Yeah. Like in your mind, it's like 100%. It has to happen.
Yeah, I'm mining Bitcoin right now, dude.
I know. But I'm just saying. But in my mind, like in order for that to happen, like the value, so much consensus of like world activity has to like align,
acknowledge that.
Exactly. And the same goes for these metaverse predictions. Like in order for that to happen, there has to be like a ubiquitous acknowledgement that this virtual experience is better than physical.
But I feel like we're on the way. I mean, especially with Facebook changing their name to Meta and completely focusing on the metaverse, like companies are starting to recognize that.
Yeah. But I factor in all of this, like the Bitcoin projections, the metaverse projections. it's just it's very disruptive.
Oh yeah,
to like
that's true.
How life is right now.
It is.
And what are the impacts of that? Like what's the fallout?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. You're saying that there's going to be friction before we get there.
Well, I always assume friction, like because again, these are insane predictions. Just like $1 million Bitcoin is kind of insane. It's not like mathematically insane. It's actually like sensible. Yeah. When you do it like that, but I'm talking from like a macro, like civilization standpoint. Like that's a radical shift. Yeah. So what happens in between is like that's what I always think about that. Yeah. I don't believe anything is a smooth transition. Anytime there's like a paradigm shift, and this is a paradigm shift. Yeah. Like it's not smooth. You know what I mean?
But I wonder what friction could you be speaking of? Like when you say it's not going to be smooth, what do you mean?
I mean, I guess it could. Like the internet as a whole is probably a multi-trillion-dollar. Absolutely, it's a multi-trillion-dollar ecosystem. Yeah. And nothing really has happened negatively, right? Like other than like the destruction of like human psyche.
Yeah, I mean, that's a small
cost. Whatever, dude. Fuck that. Yeah. We don't need happiness as long as we have the internet. Yeah. But yeah, there really hasn't been any like real friction
Yeah.
So that does damper my mood.
But you know
a little
what?
bit.
But the internet is enabled communication.
Yeah.
Blockchain and Bitcoin transitions the reins from like today's world reserve currency, the dollar, to the new world reserve currency, the Bitcoin. And so with that, I do agree. There's going to be some friction there.
Yeah.
And I just don't know
That's true.
what that friction is going to look like.
Well, yeah, I don't either, but
It could be like sanctions and like
yeah,
Bitcoin all of a sudden is just like an illegal activity.
Yeah.
Like that's the sort of the friction that I'm thinking of.
And then I also think like, because we make these gold versus Bitcoin comparisons, as we should, because it's kind of like that is Bitcoin's main use case.
Yeah.
It's just another digital store of value. So you got to make the comparison. So yeah, I look at analyze gold's history of friction inducing, like civilizations have risen and fallen off of the support or like the demand for this thing. So it's like, how is Bitcoin going to like all of a sudden take supreme reign over that and do it so in like a smooth, like frictionless fashion? Is that really what's going to happen? Are we like that civilized at this point? Like we're just going to...
Well, man, you bring up a good point because the United States is not going to be the first one to say, hey, let's switch up this Federal Reserve currency.
Yeah.
The world's reserve currency now is the Bitcoin, right? It's not going to be the United States offering that up, right? What I think is going to happen is other countries are just going to select it and start transacting in it.
Yeah.
And then it is by default the world's reserve currency if everyone else deems it so. So I think that's how it would happen. And I guess a big question here is whether or not the United States is going to play along or resist and make, interaction with any blockchain like a criminal activity.
But we know it's like for no matter what, like these countries of positions of power, they're never gonna like give their citizens like that absolute freedom not to like rely on the currency of a nation to be like, so we're already seeing it, like central bank digital currencies for sure is going to be part of the future.
Yeah.
Right. It's already here, like ready for launch. In a lot of cases, United States way behind in that, I think, but they're going to catch up at some point. But the point being, it doesn't matter if the dollar is physical or digital. There still has to be confidence in this nation's, state of affairs. So as of right now, gold is a huge component of that. Military strength, all that, right?
Yeah.
Economic strength, positioning of like
such a good
gold
point.
as part of your treasury of assets and stuff like that. So Bitcoin, if it has to factor into that, then there's all of a sudden Bitcoin becomes, a contentious thing.
Yeah.
Right. If there's going to be a new positioning of power, like who's going to be the new world reserve asset within like the geopolitical scene?
Yeah.
Now it's like we have to start factoring in because Bitcoin's scarce. We can't just distribute it amongst each other like frivolously.
Yeah. It's the scarcest asset.
You're going to have to claim it.
Yeah.
Get it from somewhere.
Right.
From somewhere that it doesn't belong to you now, but you want it to belong to you so that you could strengthen your position in the geopolitical scene.
Yeah.
And like your CBDC all of a sudden is
that much more liquid.
Yeah, that and like relied on in the global economy.
Damn,
right?
Such a good point.
Yeah. So hopefully I haven't scared too many people because in my mind,
I feel like this is the most interesting conversation to be had.
Really?
Is talking about how the geopolitical structures are going to either change or morph based on other countries' adoption of a new world reserve currency.
Yeah, because that like I said, all this stuff, everything that Web3 is about is just so disruptive.
Yeah.
To like today's life.
That's so great, man. I mean, how could you want to be in any other industry? I don't understand.
I mean, we need to go to Taco Bell and stuff like that, dude. We can't all just be building blockchains and shit. Like, there's a whole world out there, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think these conversations do have to be had, just like we had, a year or two ago. It's like, what's the United States? How are they going to react to all this? And now we're just now getting like a glimpse.
And we've seen, we've seen like what sort of like levers they pull. They start sanctioning stuff. And
And I feel like we haven't seen shit yet.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, like I said, once they realize, because DeFi it's a baby.
Yeah.
But once like we start to see real adoption across the board, DeFi, the metaverse, cryptocurrencies, just the virtual landscape, like
I feel like the metaverse,
it's the biggest existential threat.
I feel like when it comes to blockchain, it is such the biggest. It's like one of the biggest curveballs that any country could face.
Yeah.
Just blockchain itself. And then comes the metaverse, where you have your own citizens participating in a new digital nation.
Yeah.
And now you got to deal with like taxes of like that activity.
I mean, we were chiming in on like a Twitter space earlier today for the Decentraland like community.
Yeah.
They were like fighting and bickering over like a $200,000 grant or something like that. Like, imagine if like Decentraland's huge. There's tens of millions of users. They have the biggest DAO.
Yeah.
Multi-billion dollars of annual
revenue.
Hundreds of
billions. Yeah.
Hundreds of billions. Yeah. Potentially. Yeah. Rivaling real world nations.
Yeah.
Economies, GDPs, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? How the hell is the United States or like any government power going to like come in like we need to negotiate with this DAO?
Yeah.
And like we see like you guys are siphoning a lot of like economic activity from like our country or something. So how about our citizens who are participating in that? We need to like tax them if they're earning any kind of revenue, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck, dude. It's gonna be a tough argument.
That's so interesting. God.
Yeah, but that's the government's fucked in that respect. Respect, because
it depends.
We can't even agree on like little things.
It just depends. I mean, if the off ramp is a CBDC, like you need to pay your taxes in CBDC.
Yeah.
There's a chance that the governments could recover some of the activity there.
And also you got to factor in maturation. Just because these today DAOs are very uncoordinated and disorganized and chaotic doesn't mean future DAOs will be that.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out order and structure to all of this at some point.
I mean, I don't know, dude. We haven't figured out governance in hundreds of years. I don't know if all of a sudden blockchain enthusiasts are going to figure that out.
It might, just because there's so much like aligned incentive to have it figured out,
That's true.
It's better so than...
You've commoditized governance in that point. Now people who are typically not in governance, like spaces, all of a sudden, like you and I, we're in the blockchain space talking about the monetary system. Yeah. Like that sort of knowledge is sort of required to be in blockchain. I mean, if you really want to get into the fundamentals. Yeah. But in the same time, now you and I are talking about, working on governance systems. Yep. Right? Without blockchain, we wouldn't be talking about this stuff.
No, governance just becomes like a boardroom meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But this is like, how do we balance that, because that's still like an important activity. There has to be founding organizations that bring life to ecosystems. But then it's like, if you wanted to properly decentralize it, so a tornado cash situation isn't possible. It has to be like there's no single vector of attack. Yeah. If you want your ecosystem to sustain and to be, I guess, indestructible or I don't know, non-censorable, all the buzzwords of I guess Web3 blockchain, then you're gonna have to figure out how to bring the community into this
for sure,
and like really distribute like the ownership, the control,
voting power,
everything, the decision making, all that.
Yeah, it's so interesting, man. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I'm glad we're in this.
For real. But we knew all this was going to be important. So yeah, last cycle, that's why we were all like pumped. We did daily videos because like all these projects were saying they're going to do all this, Yeah. It's like this X project is like, we're going to focus on identity, on-chain identity. Fuck yeah, we need that. This project, we're building standards and frameworks for like, ecosystems to, deploy governance to their community. Fuck yeah, we need that. Yeah. We're doing this. We're like, now you could freely trade, it's a decentralized exchange. And then that's great. And then like, there's liquidity issues. Oh, we solving this. Like, it's just everything is happening and everybody's aware. Everybody's connected to this like huge goal that is, I guess, like killing the United States. I'm just saying, this is what it feels like.
We're all aligned to destroy the United States. Yeah.
That's what it feels
I mean,
like.
that is what's happening though.
Yeah.
Because the United States is the leader.
Yeah.
Right. And with this, like working, they will not be the leader. They would just be a participant of the ecosystem.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to fall in line with like the people's
Yeah.
online society. You know.
Man, so we should have another podcast talking about the Constitution and how outdated it is.
Well, shit. I only know like 2 or 3 of those those Bill of Rights. We'd have to really do some research.
Yeah.
Or amendments or whatever. Yeah, dude. It's been a while.
I mean, even our own country is stepping on our own rights. You know, speaking of the Tornado Cash incident. But nonetheless, so that's been the podcast for today. It's been an hour. I appreciate you guys listening and watching and commenting on YouTube.
Yeah.
We respond to all the comments there, so definitely give us your thoughts on everything we spoke about today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, at MetaZone.io, and at Rovi AI. And I guess we'll catch you in the next podcast.
Yep, we'll be back. Peace.